The rise and fall of Alexander's empire. Few empires in history have risen so swiftly and fallen so suddenly as that of Alexander the Great. In just over a decade, Alexander conquered the Persian Empire, marched into India, and forged one of the largest empires in ancient history. Yet, within years of his death, his empire fractured, unable to hold together without its charismatic leader. This is the story of Alexander's rise, his vision for a unified empire, and the eventual fall of his legacy. Chapter 1: The Early Foundation of Ambition. In 336 BCE, Alexander III of Macedon ascended the throne after the assassination of his father, King Philip II. From an early age, Alexander showed remarkable courage and intellect, qualities that would define his leadership. His tutor, Aristotle, instilled in him a love of Greek culture and ideals, inspiring Alexander's vision of spreading Hellenism beyond Greece. Fueled by both ambition and a desire to avenge Persian attacks on Greece, Alexander inherited his father's mission to invade Persia. With a skilled army of Macedonians and Greek allies, Alexander set his sights on Asia Minor. His first significant victory at the Battle of Granicus in 334 BCE paved the way for his conquest, proving his strategic skill and cementing his reputation as a formidable leader. Chapter 2: The Path to Power, Conquering the Persian Empire. Alexander's campaign continued with a series of decisive victories, each expanding his territory and influence. In 333 BCE, he met the Persian king Darius III at the Battle of Issus. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander's brilliant tactics and psychological warfare overwhelmed Darius's forces. The Persian king fled, leaving Alexander with a resounding victory and further emboldening his reputation. As he moved deeper into Persia, Alexander captured strategic cities like Tyre and Gaza. His ability to adapt from siege tactics to direct cavalry assaults was unmatched, making him seemingly unstoppable. In 331 BCE, he met Darius one final time at Gaugamela. With careful planning, Alexander broke through the Persian center, and Darius, once again, fled. The Battle of Gaugamela marked the end of Persian power and the beginning of Alexander's control over one of the largest empires of the ancient world. Chapter 3: Establishing an Empire, Diplomacy and Integration. With Persia under his control, Alexander's ambitions expanded. He envisioned an empire that blended Greek and Persian cultures, bridging East and West. To achieve this, he adopted Persian customs, encouraged intermarriage between his soldiers and Persian women, and even married Roxana, a Bactrian princess. He founded numerous cities, including Alexandria in Egypt, designed as hubs for Greek culture, trade, and administration. However, his efforts to integrate cultures met with resistance, particularly among his Macedonian soldiers and officers, who feared he was abandoning Greek traditions. Despite the friction, Alexander continued to pursue his vision of a culturally unified empire, ensuring that Greek ideas would be preserved and passed down through the territories he conquered. Chapter 4: The Campaign in India and the Limits of Empire. In 326 BCE, Alexander pushed further east, entering the Indian subcontinent. Here he faced King Porus at the Battle of Hydaspes, where war elephants struck terror into the Macedonian ranks. Through tactical ingenuity, Alexander managed to outflank Porus's forces, securing victory. Impressed by Porus's bravery, Alexander allowed him to keep his kingdom as a loyal ally, a diplomatic move that strengthened Alexander's influence in the region. Yet, as Alexander's army marched deeper into India, his men grew weary of endless campaigns and the unfamiliar, punishing environment. They pleaded to return home, and Alexander, realizing he could not force them further, turned back. This moment marked a shift in Alexander's reign. The empire had reached its outer limits. Chapter 5: The Return to Babylon and the Seeds of Division. On the journey back, Alexander's army faced extreme hardships, especially while crossing the Gedrosian Desert. Many soldiers perished, but Alexander pressed on, determined to return to Babylon, where he planned to solidify his empire. Upon his return, he instituted policies to integrate his diverse territories further, encouraging more intermarriages and forming a new officer class that included Persian and Macedonian elites. Alexander also planned new campaigns, including a possible invasion of Arabia, hoping to expand his empire's reach. But he would not live to see these plans fulfilled. In 323 BCE, Alexander fell ill in Babylon. He died at just 32, leaving no clear heir. His empire, united by his charisma and strategic genius, was suddenly leaderless. Chapter 6: Consolidation and Cultural Fusion. As Alexander made his way back to Babylon, he began consolidating his empire. He adopted Persian dress, incorporated Persian customs, and encouraged intermarriage between his officers and Persian nobility. His goal was to create a unified ruling class that would bridge Greek and Persian cultures, forging a new identity for his empire. He also established cities throughout his territories, many of which bore his name, and these cities became hubs of trade, learning, and cultural exchange. Alexandria in Egypt, in particular, became a renowned center for science, art, and philosophy, embodying Alexander's vision of a cosmopolitan empire. But Alexander's policy of integration was met with resistance from his Macedonian soldiers, who saw it as a betrayal of Greek values. The friction between Greek and Persian customs foreshadowed the challenges that would arise after Alexander's death. Chapter 7: The Untimely Death of a Conqueror. In 323 BCE, Alexander returned to Babylon with dreams of further conquests. He planned campaigns into Arabia and beyond, driven by an unquenchable ambition. However, in June of that year, he fell ill, possibly from fever, and within days, Alexander the Great died at the age of 32. His death left a vacuum at the center of the empire, as he had named no clear successor. Alexander's body was preserved and taken to Egypt, where he was laid to rest in a golden sarcophagus in Alexandria. His soldiers, generals, and allies mourned him, and across his empire, people recognized the passing of a leader who had altered the course of history. Chapter 8: The Division of Empire and the Wars of the Diadochi. After Alexander's death, his generals, known as the Diadochi, vied for control. Without a designated heir, Alexander's empire quickly fractured into rival territories. Each general claimed parts of the empire, leading to a series of conflicts known as the Wars of the Diadochi. Ptolemy took control of Egypt, Seleucus seized Persia and Mesopotamia, and Antigonus attempted to dominate Asia Minor. Macedonia itself saw leadership struggles, with the homeland caught in the middle of this fragmented power structure. Despite Alexander's vision of unity, the empire he had built could not survive without him. The rivalries among his successors tore the empire apart, and by 300 BCE, it had split into several Hellenistic kingdoms, each ruled independently. Chapter 9: Legacy of Alexander's Empire. Though his empire dissolved, Alexander's impact endured. His conquests spread Greek language, art, and culture across Asia, creating a new cultural era known as the Hellenistic Age. In Alexandria, scholars preserved Greek and Eastern knowledge, advancing studies in philosophy, mathematics, and medicine. Greek became the lingua franca of the Eastern Mediterranean, facilitating trade, diplomacy, and the spread of ideas. The Hellenistic kingdoms, though divided, continued Alexander's vision of a blended culture. Art and architecture flourished, with Hellenistic styles merging with local traditions. Cities like Alexandria, Antioch, and Pergamon became cultural centers, embodying the synthesis of Greek and Eastern influences that Alexander had sought. In legend, Alexander became a heroic figure, inspiring leaders like Julius Caesar, Napoleon, and countless others. His ambition, bravery, and tactical genius became a model for generations. He is remembered not just as a conqueror but as a visionary who dreamed of a world connected by culture, trade, and shared ideas. Alexander's empire may have fallen, but the legacy of his ambition, the cities he founded, and the cultural fusion he promoted continued to shape history long after his passing. His rise and fall remain a story of dreams fulfilled and the limits of power, a testament to the enduring mark he left on the world.